Imagine a world without wheels. This was the reality for early humans for a very long time. Everything that needed to be moved was carried. People used their own strength to transport food, water, and building materials. They would lift heavy loads on their backs or shoulders. Sometimes they would drag large objects across the ground. This process was incredibly slow and difficult. It limited how much a person could carry and how far they could go in a single day. Daily survival depended entirely on human muscle and endurance, making every task a significant physical challenge. Travel was a major undertaking in this wheelless world. Journeys between settlements were long and dangerous. People walked everywhere they went, following simple footpaths or animal trails. Moving a family or a small group required careful planning. They could only take what they could physically carry with them. This meant that communities were often small and isolated from one another. The lack of efficient transportation kept societies separated. It was hard to share ideas, trade goods, or visit relatives who lived far away. Life was confined to a very small geographical area for most people. Large-scale projects were nearly impossible to complete. Think about building a great monument or a large village. Without wheels, every stone, every log, and every basket of earth had to be moved by hand. People might have used simple tools like wooden sledges or rollers. A sledge is a flat platform that can be dragged. Rollers are logs placed under a heavy object to help it move. While these methods were better than carrying everything, they were still very inefficient. The logs had to be constantly moved from the back to the front. This required a lot of people and a lot of effort for even short distances. This constant struggle for movement shaped early human societies. The amount of food a community could gather was limited by how far they could travel to find it and carry it back. The size of their homes was restricted by the size of the materials they could transport. The world was a much bigger and more challenging place. The simple act of moving things from one point to another was one of the greatest obstacles to progress. People spent most of their energy on basic survival, leaving little room for other advancements. This was the world waiting for a simple yet revolutionary invention. The wheel was not invented for transportation at first. Its earliest known use was for making pottery. Around 3500 BCE in Mesopotamia, a region in the Middle East, potters started using a turntable. This was a heavy, flat disc, often made of stone or clay, that spun on a central pivot. A potter could place a lump of clay on this spinning wheel and shape it with their hands. This new tool allowed them to create round, symmetrical pots much faster and more easily than before. This potter's wheel was the first true wheel in human history, a simple machine that changed craftsmanship forever. The idea to use the wheel for transport came a bit later. The inventor of the wheeled vehicle is unknown. It was not one single person, but likely a gradual development by many people. Archaeologists believe the first wheeled carts appeared around 3200 BCE. This happened in different places around the same time, including Mesopotamia, the North Caucasus, and Central Europe. The earliest wheels were not elegant or light. They were solid wooden discs, made from slicing a tree trunk or fastening several planks together. A hole was carved in the center for an axle, which was a simple wooden rod. Creating these first wheeled vehicles was a significant engineering feat. The inventors had to solve several problems. The wheel and the axle had to fit together perfectly. If the hole in the wheel was too big, the wheel would wobble. If the axle was too thick, the wheel would not turn freely. The connection had to be smooth to reduce friction. Early innovators likely used animal fat as a lubricant to help the parts move together more easily. It took many trials and many errors to create a cart that could actually roll forward without falling apart or getting stuck. No single person can be credited with this game-changing invention. There is no historical figure like an Erg the cart maker whose name we remember. The development of the wheel was an anonymous process of innovation. It grew out of the needs of different societies. These early people saw a problem, the difficulty of moving heavy things, and they experimented with solutions. The potter's wheel provided the core concept. Another clever person, or group of people, eventually adapted that spinning motion to create a tool for transport, forever changing the course of human history. The invention of the wheeled cart was a turning point for ancient agriculture. Before the wheel, farmers could only cultivate the land close to their villages. Transporting heavy harvests of grain or other crops from distant fields was too difficult. With carts pulled by animals like oxen or donkeys, farmers could expand their fields much further. They could now bring back larger quantities of food to store for the winter. This led to a surplus of food, which meant that not everyone had to be a farmer. Some people could specialize in other crafts, like pottery, weaving, or metalworking. Trade between different towns and cities exploded thanks to the wheel. Before carts, trade was limited to lightweight, high-value goods that could be carried on foot or by boat. Things like spices, shells, or precious stones were common. But with wheeled vehicles, people could transport heavy, bulky goods like timber, stone, metal ores, and large quantities of grain. This allowed different regions to exchange the resources they had for the resources they needed. A city near a forest could trade wood for pottery made in a town with good clay, leading to greater economic growth and interdependence between communities. The wheel also revolutionized mobility and warfare. Armies could move faster and cover more ground. Supply carts could follow soldiers, carrying food, water, and weapons, which allowed for longer military campaigns. Then came a fearsome invention, the war chariot. Around 2000 BCE, engineers developed lightweight, spoke-wheeled chariots. These were fast and agile platforms for archers and spearmen. In many ancient societies from Egypt to China, the chariot became the ultimate weapon of its time. It gave a huge advantage to the armies that possessed it, changing the balance of power across the ancient world. The impact on daily life and the structure of society was profound. Roads had to be built to accommodate the new wheeled traffic, connecting distant places more effectively. Cities could grow larger because they could be supplied with food and materials from a wider area. The world felt smaller and more connected. Information and ideas could travel along these new trade routes, spreading knowledge and technology from one culture to another. The wheel did not just move goods, it moved civilization forward, laying the physical and social foundations for the complex societies that would follow. The basic design of the wheel continued to evolve after its invention. The solid wooden disc was heavy and clumsy. A major breakthrough was the spoked wheel, which appeared around 2000 BCE. By removing sections of the wood and leaving thin spokes to connect the hub to the rim, the wheel became much lighter. This made vehicles faster and more efficient. This innovation was crucial for the development of war chariots and later personal carriages. Over centuries, further improvements were made, such as adding iron rims to increase durability. But the fundamental concept of a hub, spokes, and a rim remained the same for thousands of years. The wheel's influence goes far beyond transportation. Its principles are at the heart of countless other technologies that have shaped our world. Think of a simple gear. A gear is just a wheel with teeth, and it is a fundamental component in almost any machine you can imagine. Clocks, windmills, and water wheels all depend on the rotational motion of a wheel to function. The Industrial Revolution of the 18th and 19th centuries was powered by wheels, from the spinning jenny that made textiles to the massive flywheels of steam engines that powered factories and locomotives. The wheel is the silent, spinning hero behind modern industry. Today, it is almost impossible to imagine our modern world without the wheel. It is so fundamental that we often forget it is even there. Our cars, trains, airplanes, and bicycles all rely on it to move us around the globe. Inside our homes, wheels are working quietly in washing machines, clocks, and computer fans. The world's economy depends on trucks, ships, and planes, all using wheels or their derivatives to transport goods across continents. From a child's toy car to the landing gear of a space shuttle, the wheel is an essential and inescapable part of our technological existence. The journey of the wheel from a potter's tool to the foundation of modern technology is a story of human ingenuity. It is a perfect example of how one simple idea can have enormous and lasting consequences. The anonymous inventors in ancient Mesopotamia could never have dreamed of how their spinning disc would transform the future. The wheel did more than just make life easier. It expanded the boundaries of human potential. It allowed us to build bigger, travel farther, and dream larger. It is, without a doubt, one of the most important inventions in all of human history, a true game changer that continues to propel us forward.